Hello and welcome to another episode of the Full Force Weekly, brought to you by Generals Reborn.com, with me as your host, Christopher McLeod AKA Diagnostic 80. For today's episode, I'm joined by the awesome Patrick Notpicard Stewart. In this regular video series, we round up all the week's news in the world of G.I. Joe. What is it, Pat?
It's a Full Force Weekly.
Yay! We are back and new graphics and everything. How are you doing, buddy? How's things?
Doing all right. I was really tempted to just stick with that beat that you had going again today, and almost forgot to say it's the Full Force Weekly.
It's the Full Force Bounce. Yeah. What's really funny is we've got new graphics, and you made a comment on it when I told you who it was, and RKW has also said in the comments, "Desert camo, very appropriate for this time of year." Hilarious. It is technically not desert camo. I think Brian, obviously Brian Sauer does our graphics. I think a little bit of artistic interpretation on the pattern. But who do you think it is? Bear in mind, it is winter now. Who do you think we are dealing with in the? Let us know in the comments who you think the camo pattern is referring to. I managed to stump Pat with it, didn't I? Because you were like, "Why is it tan then?"
Yeah, I was like, it's either the APC. My first guess was it's the APC.
Yeah,
and you're like, no.
Everyone's got it already.
It's dusty.
Yeah, you thought it was dusty, didn't you? Which is great, amazing. No, everyone's got it already. Yeah, Paul, Jamie Lynn, Ed. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we are dealing now in the graphics department with Avalanche from Battle Force 2000, a winter specialist, of course. But yeah, we've gone Avalanche style. Anyway, other than that, how have you been, pal? How's things?
Doing okay. I got this in yesterday. How about that?
Ooh.
Last night I came home and found that Amazon had left this on my porch.
Ghost rings. Look at them. Brilliant.
Yeah. So I've not opened it yet.
Are you happy with what you can see so far, or what your thoughts?
With what I can see, yeah, actually I am. There's some things that I would like to be a little more traditional G.I. Joe, but
yeah,
considering the fact that these aren't actually G.I. Joes,
yeah,
I should be a little more forgiving with it. But
G.I. Joestbusters.
I like the head sculpts. I like the flesh tones that on all four figures. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm excited for this.
Ed's written, "I ain't afraid of no O-ring." I like it. I would say I ain't afraid of no ring, because that's smoother. Jedi Ben says, "Big sale on Walmart. Night Force Falcon 2-pack is $41." Yes, we'll be talking about that a little bit later on as well, actually. But if you want to run off and go grab that, then now is a good time to do so. Did someone say Battle Force 2000? Yes, Future Fortress Maximus. We are rocking Avalanche graphics now. That's how we roll.
Or maybe it's a pre-production winter operations short fuse.
My goodness. Should we just go with that? That's technically what it is. That was the deep cut that we were actually going for on that one. Amazing stuff. I would say with the Ghostbusters O-ring figures there, Pat, we had, I want to say it was so long ago now. Do you remember we talked about a Ghostbusters Joe crossover that was coming? It was like, and it was, I think.
Well, I had to remind you of this.
Yes, I know you did. So ages and ages and ages ago, we're talking like years ago, we got a listing that, and I don't think we made it public or anything at the time. It kind of like showed up. We couldn't really work out what it was going to be, and we didn't say anything about it. But it was like a Ghostbusters G.I. Joe crossover at 3 3/4 scale. And so we were kind of like, what? Is it going to be like 4, or I think it said 4-inch, or we thought it was modern 4-inch, didn't we? Because none of us could understand why it would be O-ring or anything like that, or we just didn't know what it was. But it was going to be effectively G.I. Joe Ghostbuster crossover. And this is probably what that was referring to, like an O-ring crossover for Ghostbusters, which is crazy that we didn't really think about it at the time, did we?
No. Well, whenever this came out, yeah, I thought of it instantly. Like,
oh yeah, but I mean at the time when we got that listing is what I mean.
No, whenever we got that listing, we really did not know what that was going to be. I think that was back probably like we were still looking forward to the Snake Eyes movie coming out.
Oh my God, you're right. It was like 21 or something, wasn't it?
You know what? I know when that was. That was was definitely a listing among items leading up to Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, not the most recent Ghostbusters movie, but the one before that.
Yeah, when they're in the house and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a listing for that. And then you'd shown that to me, and then where this popped up, I was like, hey, this is finally that thing that you said, and you're like, I did not know about this. There's no way. And so I had to dig it out, and you're like, oh yeah, we did talk about that.
But I think for me, it was like I knew of that listing, but I didn't put the two together. Because the information we got was I think it even said 4-inch. I don't think it said 375.
No, it did. It did indicate. Oh, maybe it did say 4-inch.
Yeah, I think it was like 4-inch, and I thought there were going to be like Ghostbusters suits and then like some sort of G.I. Joe head or something. And it was like we just couldn't work out what it could be. And this makes way more sense as to what this is, because we also had an inkling around that time, I think, of O-ring being utilized for other things rather than just G.I. Joe. I think around the same time of that listing coming out, there was talk of O-ring being used for different brands, and I just didn't put the two and two together like I know I should have done. But anyway, that's really cool, though, mate, that you got
I think maybe what had happened, since there was also the 1/18th Ecto that was on that list and did come out.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that maybe what happened was these got canceled and they finished the Ecto without the intention of it fitting these.
That makes a lot of sense.
Emily had mentioned that the projects were finished independently.
Yeah.
Whenever this was announced.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that Ecto was always intended for these figures.
Yeah.
But since it was finished with them canceled, that's why they don't fit in the back seat.
That makes so much sense now, actually thinking about it. In any case, quite fun, and I'm really that kind of cool that we might be getting O-ring in way more different kind of places now, and I know that excites you massively as well.
Yeah, especially if they're. I mean, I'd love them to be, like a Operation Longbow, call sign Longbow.
Yeah. You're getting your O-rings mixed up there.
I'm getting my O-rings mixed up. So call sign Longbow level of accurate to vintage G.I. Joe. But if they're this,
are you thinking of Delta Operation Delta Longbow? Is that what you're thinking?
my brain, I don't know. I was trying to also like sort out the fact that it's a Skeletron figure that's in hand.
Right.
Well, no, I have a call sign Longbow figure with Ghost in hand though too.
Yeah, Ghost in hand. Yeah.
Yeah, but if they're this good,
so many O-rings
going on, I'll be happy.
Yeah, definitely. So
I assume, and the fact I haven't opened it,
and the fact that we're still getting O-ring with the crossovers as well, with the collaborations with Transformers and Joe, like the fact we get O-rings with them, we get Super 7 O-rings, we get Skeletron Delta 17 Operation Recall, nearly messed up there myself. Call sign Longbow. There is a lot of O-ring love out there at the moment. So anyway, should we get on with the news, considering we're like 5 hours in already? We've done that thing where we're like, there's not much to talk about this week, so we'll just chill out. And
I have time today though, so I'm fine.
Oh, good. Okay, I don't. So let's do it.
That's how it always works.
First, we're delving into comics. So it's Chris's Comics Corner for this one. So even though we've got new graphics, we're changing graphics again, sorry. Yeah, we just switched to the Comics Burst graphics. What are you going to do?
No need for a spoiler hat, though, today, I don't think.
No spoiler hats on this one. Just a couple of very cool things to chat about. One is that they are doing a hardcover for Cobra Commander and the Duke kind of first issue. The first issues of those comics, or not the first issues, but the mini series basically combined. We're getting a hardcover for this. You can get it on Amazon right this second, link in the description. And it has been a very, very cool start to the Energon universe for Transformers, G.I. Joe, and of course Void Rivals. If you're not reading any of these, trust me, get involved. They are phenomenal. My most recent I'm a bit behind actually with the comics. I think I'm like an issue behind on most of them. But the Destro miniseries was phenomenal. Like absolutely next level. The first issue of G.I. Joe was really good and quite like, whoa, at the end as well. So make sure you check that out. And of course, if you're not necessarily into Transformers, fine, that I totally understand. But they really are good comics. And Void Rivals is one of those ones where it stands alone completely as a story on its own and has been absolutely insane. The reason I'm talking about all of them at the moment is, as well as this book one hardcover news this week, we also got this news this week that the Energon universe is at 3 million copies sold and counting. Isn't that insane, Pat, right now in comics?
It is, yeah, and I'm happy to see the brands that I'm all about, making big numbers. It's nice.
Yeah, Void Rivals.
Right.
You got all those Void Rivals t-shirts,
Yeah.
all those Void Rival O-ring figures. I mean,
Hey,
yeah,
give me some Void Rival O-ring figures. I'll buy those.
you might get them actually at some point. I'd be very surprised if we don't see Void Rivals appear in some sort of toy form soon. I'd be very surprised.
Yeah,
honestly.
I do wonder how the agreement on that went.
Actually, am I right in saying there have been leaked listings for Transformers and Void Rivals? Let me know in the comments, because I feel like that might have happened, and I might have dreamt it. So let me know in the comments if I have just made that up, because there might have been listings that popped out for Transformers and Void Rivals at the very least. But let me know in the comments if I'm wrong on that one, because again, I'm not as on it with the Transformers listings that come out as I am with G.I. Joe, for obvious reasons. For one thing, it's a brain like hemorrhage waiting to happen just dealing with the G.I. Joe listings, isn't it, Pat?
For sure. Yeah. I just kind of let Transformers happen, as far as having to pay, like, oh, that's out. Okay, that's nice.
Yeah,
but I'm not too concerned about making sure that I've heard every single rumor.
Right, which character's coming out next, that kind of thing. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I'm the same with that one. I will on the periphery, I'll see listings, they'll come past at some point, but I won't be as, because I'm not as on it as I am with the Joe ones. I don't know what all the kind of, I'm not really 100% sure what a lot of the not internal codes, but like, you know what I mean, like the kind of the certain aspects of the codes that relate to a certain size class or a certain line, and I'm not as au fait with that as I am with Joe, but I'm sure I saw something about that. Anyway, if you remember in the comments, let me know that there's some sort of Void Rivals Transformers listings, or I might have dreamt that. In any case, 3 million copies sold and going as well. It's moving, including the 3 biggest Hasbro comic launches of all time. That blows my mind. I think we're in a really hot period for these comics, for G.I. Joe, Transformers, etc. And I'm here for it, man. Like, I am totally here for it. And also, this just really emphasizes how strong these brands are at the moment, doesn't it?
For sure, yeah. It is nice to see G.I. Joe doing so well. Not just the classified line, the comics seem to be doing well aside from classified. And I kind of wonder, how much these things have fed each other as far as popularity goes. I'm sure that they have, for sure.
Do you think there's more of a hunger for the comics because there isn't a lot of classified media to really, well, there isn't any other than the comics, really. Do you think that fuels it a little bit? The fact that they're not satiated in other ways. They want to try and get their hands on anything classified.
Well, I think that you have this huge like community of people collecting modern 6-inch figures. And then whenever G.I. Joe hit, it was the thing that was not overdone, because at this point, most of the Star Wars characters, they've been through them, like the major ones. And Marvel, even more so than Star Wars. Like, they're digging into really obscure things or going back and redoing things at this point for 6-inch. So G.I. Joe is kind of on that, hitting on, in my opinion, the classified line's doing well because the characters are more fresh to that 6-inch collecting audience, and the fact that the figures are kind of better than a lot of the other figures coming out. So just the fact that you've got like that community of people really excited makes me think that, you know, that's an audience that had not revisited G.I. Joe that is eager for a comic to come out. So that would be my guess, that you know, introducing 6-inch G.I. Joe was the right move to promote a comic. It was a good jumping on point because it was a new company taking over. The way that they introduced things and the approach that they're taking is all really good. It's a lot feeding each other, I think.
Yeah. And I think that's really well said. I couldn't put it any better myself. And I think you've covered every single angle there perfectly. No, that's totally true. And yeah, for those that aren't involved, aren't reading these yet, I mean, you're missing out. And I know you're one of those people, Pat. But again, this is genuinely some of the most fun I've had in comics in a long time. So yeah, get involved.
Speaking of comics, though, Ed says that he got his Battle Action Force hardcover collection last night.
Yeah, and mine should be coming today between now and 12.
Wow.
So I'm very excited for that.
Okay.
But we'll be talking about that a little bit later on as well in the shout outs. But yes, 100% Battle Action Force should be on their way for the US backers.
I really wasn't expecting them before the end of the year.
Crazy, isn't it? I mean, let's face it, when it comes to Total Action Force, Total Battle Action Force, any of the Total toy books, when you get involved with one of those pre-orders or whatever it may be, campaigns, it does not take long for them to get it to you. And that is just testament to the amount of work that people are putting into that. Like Brian Hickey puts a lot of work into these. Paddy Lennon, of course, involved in a lot of those books. You know, everyone involved in those books, mainly Brian Hickey, are just, you know, that they get you the product in hand in good time. And that's one of the things I like about backing books. It's like it's even though a lot of time has gone into these, it's not the same as back in a toy situation where you're waiting for tooling and then you're waiting for deco and then you're waiting for this. So like, it's amazing. I'm very excited. I cannot wait to get stuck into them. RKW says, I hope Skybound introduce the Red Shadows again. Yeah, that would be really cool. Although they'd probably have to call them something differently, wouldn't they? Because Red Shadows actually is owned by Skeletron now. So you can't necessarily use that name. So they're going to have to call it something else. Or maybe they're just really mysterious. Maybe they never give them a name. That would be kind of fun, wouldn't it? Just introduce them and never actually, you know who they are. Just highly classified. Anyway, that is the Comics Corner. Amazing that Energon Universe is doing so well, and long may it continue. And I haven't seen any hint that they're dropping off. We're still getting reprints of issues, man. This is nuts. Absolutely nuts. In any case, we've got more to talk about. So next up, we have a little bit. Are we talking statues next? I think we are.
We are, yes.
A little bit of statue news. We can get back to the normal graphics. Yep, back in the Avalanche graphics. Iron Studios have revealed their upcoming Snake Eyes and Timber statue. Now, let me get all the deets up for this one, but it's actually going to cost $249.99, this one. So it's an expensive one, but also at the same time, it's not very big. So you can see in some of the shots here, well, this is the actual pending approval, of course. They've got there still might be some changes that have to be made, but usually at that stage, they're pretty much sorted. Now, yeah, I'm a bit concerned about the price based on the size of this and the fact that we've had, I want to say, 5 or 6 statues of similar styling in the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I was actually a little confused. I felt like I'd seen this before, but I'm thinking of the Diamond Select one that's like $35.
Exactly. There's a Diamond Select one, 2 actually, because there's like repaints, aren't there? There's like one that's purple and then one that's like the black. Then you have I forget the other one. There's another company that did them as well, or maybe I'm thinking of, no, that was definitely Diamond Select, because I got those. Thank you, Diamond. They sent those for an unboxing, which was really cool. So I did that ages ago. But then there was another company, wasn't there? Was it P something? P something P. I don't want to say PCP because that's drugs. But what? I forget the name of the company. But there was like it was like 3 letters and it began with P. And someone will let me know in the comments probably. And that was a Snake Eyes, and there was a Snake Eyes and Timber one in that, I think, or just a Snake Eyes one. I feel like there's been so many of these.
PCS?
And yes, PCS, thank you. Did you just search that, or did someone say it in the comments? Yes. Yeah, it was PCS, you're right. But I don't think Timber came with that one. But there's been so many statues of Snake Eyes in all sorts of facets and fashions. Prime 1, obviously.
Prime 1
if you go
Studios,
back.
yeah, there's one.
There's a couple other like cheaper options, I'm sure, but I don't know. I just feel like this isn't treading new ground, really. It looks nice, but at the same time, there's a couple other things to talk about with this as well. So it is a 1/10 scale, and you can see, again, like very nice detailing on it. You got the grenades on the secondary, the cross strap there. Nice detail as you'd expect. Really nice detail on the ground as well. Probably a little bit better than the detail that you see on the Diamond Select ones. They're a little bit cheaper as well. Let's take that into consideration.
Yeah.
But you can see there's a little bit more going on, like very on a smaller scale, and that's why they've done a close up there of like the hair on Timber and like the way that the snow's fallen on the ground and on like the log and everything. But then this is the size of it: 8.8 inch height by 6.4 inch width and 8.8 depth. So it's not massive. It's 2 pounds in weight, fairly solid. But what are your thoughts, Pat, for 24999?
I just think that statues are a completely different thing. It's part of the reason why I collect action figures. I don't really worry about them if they fall over as much. I don't know. I mean, I hate to say anything bad about it, but at that price, I personally can't justify buying. I can't justify buying that, especially knowing that there's a $35 option that I was having trouble telling the difference between that and this. And then the other thing is I'd really like to see comparison photos of those next to each other. Because like the first, I think it's the first photo that you have. No, it's the second one. The one right two before this. There it is. Like those bullets can't possibly be hanging out in the air, the casings.
Right. I think that must be what do you call it? Like a little bit of promo image, kind of like CGI. Yeah.
Sure. So there's just some excitement to the photos though.
Right.
That I know is not the final item, the way that it would look on my shelf. I would like to see a comparison of these Snake Eyes and Timber statues next to each other. So if somebody has them, I really would like to look at a review of them.
Well, this is coming out until Q3 of 2025. So
okay, so it's a while.
Yeah, I can't do that for you, but I do have the Snake Eyes, those two Snake Eyes statues, the one that repaints and everything. Again, thank you, Diamond. And that was, and they were great. I thought they were really nice, really well made. They might have been a little more expensive at the time. I wonder is that the sale price you're looking at now, Pat?
It most definitely is the sale price. I think that those started out a lot more, but not in the hundreds, I don't think.
No. I remember the PCS ones were like 50 or something, and I think the Diamond Select ones were closer to maybe like 80. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Prime 1 was expensive though too.
Oh, that was like $1,000, wasn't it? That was like really expensive, like $700, $600 or something.
$700, I think. Yeah. I mean, a lot of it probably comes down to the material as well, and how much somebody's hands were directly upon these things. So I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying that I would like to see a comparison to see, from the people who are into these, what are they getting out of that, those hundreds of dollars?
I will say I think it looks gorgeous, but at the same time, it's not really doing anything we haven't already seen in statue form for these characters. And yeah, I'm not like, and I wasn't really I didn't really know much about Iron Studios before this was posted, and we were like 6 days late to this because it kind of flew under the radar a little bit. I think someone sent it to me. I can't remember who it was, but thank you whoever sent this to me. I think Mark Seddon, actually. Mark Seddon. It was Mark. Thank you, Mark. So like I'm not like 100% like, it's not something that's buzzing my berries, but from like looking from a standpoint of, is it a quality statue? Yeah, it looks gorgeous. But yeah, I don't know. I'm with you. I can't necessarily justify that sort of price point when you've got those other options sort of available. But yeah, but there's loads more that probably goes into that, as you said. So yeah, anyway, there you go. That is Iron Studios Snake Eyes and Timber statue. Let us know what you guys think in the comments, and we will ignore it. Just kidding. Next up, next up, Pat, we're flying over to, because it wouldn't be an episode of the Weekly without talking about the VE01 Air Eagle, would it? No, it wouldn't. The VE01 Air Eagle. They've posted, Fans Hobby have posted even more images of this. Pat's getting to the point now where he's like, oh, how many more images do we have to see this thing, aren't he?
This is the Groundhog Day for me of being here on the full force. Didn't we talk about this? Oh, but Hugh Jackman's in it now.
Yeah,
so.
Hugh Jackman's involved now. What was it that we always used to get? Well, it was higher reveals, wasn't it? That was one that we would get on a weekly basis for about a month or two.
That's right. Yeah.
And that became a little bit Groundhog Day-ish. But you're right. Yeah. This one is getting to be like, oh, we're talking about the VE01 Air Eagle again. Yes, we are. And these are images that have been posted on their socials again. So just kind of showing the vehicle again in a bit more detail in sexy lighting. And I've got to admit, I think seeing these images as well have made me kind of think, yeah, it's really, really cool. Looks gorgeous. I think it's a very awesome little vehicle. And I mean, we've talked about this ad infinitum at this point. We probably don't need to go into the IP sort of vicinity again. We've talked about that so many times now. Let's talk about these as a standalone, images, I guess. Any changes here, Pat, in how you viewed this, or I mean, what are your thoughts at the moment seeing these new images?
Just kind of repeat of much the same, like all the same things I said before.
Go back to the last weekly and just copy and paste Pat's comments over to this one, and that's exactly what you're going to get here.
Very
right?
Big. Undoubtedly, Hasbro will make their own, and if you're really into it, have at it. I don't judge. It's it looks fine. I'm sure that it'll be quality. I'm sure there will be a couple of parts on it that will be a little bit brittle. I shouldn't say brittle, but I do look at that control stick and think brittle.
Right.
You know what I mean? There will be some finicky things about it. It's not going to be an item made to the same specs as something G.I. Joe that would be at Walmart or Target, or even on Hasbro Pulse. It's made with collectors in mind, and there probably are some things that are a little more finicky.
I like the little pedals, though. That's a nice touch.
Yeah.
That would be. I'd like to see something like that kind of utilized in like classified form.
Makes me want to fly an actual Skyhawk, though, more than it does make me want to have this.
Stick your selfie series figure in there, Pat, and it's sorted, right?
No, I just want to have like a flying go-kart. Is what that looks like to me.
So true. And there's I think the final shot of it we have. But you can see all those images on our Facebook page. Oh no, we've got more. On our Facebook page, and of course on their socials as well. There's a little kind of connector that you can loop the that kind of like cable
for your Christmas tree.
Exactly. So this is now a giant ornament for your Christmas tree. Perfect. That's perfect, Pat, actually. There's Hugh Jackman getting involved. There's also, you can see it kind of connected to the zip line as well, so you can have a bit of fun with that. And from those videos from the field test from last week, that kind of looks quite fun as well, being able to like launch it and see it fly across the place. But yeah, no, this is the figure obviously in the cockpit, so you can see how the feet work with the pedals. I do like that little addition. I like the pedals. I think that's quite a nice touch. We've had it in the past where you sort of get sort of pedals in vehicles, like in the cars and stuff, where it's just like a raised block, but it's not like an actual pedal, which would be really cool. Obviously, a lot more, complex, obviously, if you want to kind of add that into a build. So I totally get why it's not done at that level often, but it's cool to see here. And
especially since this is visible whenever the cockpit opens, it's nice to see it. If it was down tucked underneath a dashboard, it wouldn't be nearly as exciting. But yeah, it does look good, especially in the, shot in a separate color is what it looks like.
Yes, absolutely. Really nice, like it. I think they've done a really good job with this. But again, like, we're not going to get into the IP conversation because we talked about that every single time, and it takes about 6 hours to get through all that. But that is the VE01 Air Eagle. Is anyone in the chat? Is any one of you guys getting this? Is anyone picking this up? I think we have got a few people that follow quite often. That do often say that they are getting into this one. So yeah, let us know in the comments if you're getting a VE01 Air Eagle or not, and why. Now, finally, I think in our news for this week, we're getting stuck into our little classified corner. Everything's a corner, isn't it? It's like Chris's comics corner, and now it's the Full Force classified corner. So let's get stuck into some classified news. And we shall start with Night Force Falcon and Quarrel, who have popped up again on Walmart's online scenario. Not only are they available again, but they are going for like a lot cheaper. I think $41 is what they are at the moment. So if you're on, or if you're able to get onto Walmart online and order these, then go for it. Because as of this morning when I went live, they were still available. So that's great. And people were kind of concerned because they missed out and they were hoping there'd be more come up. Here's your opportunity. Oh, hello, Gary Gorzok as well. Good to have you in the chat. You did order one. Good. Oh, you ordered a VE01 Air Eagle. That's cool. You'll have to let me know what it's like as well when you carry. Pass isn't getting one. Jello Ben says, looks great, but I'll have to pass in terms of the Air Eagle. Joe Barrett says it's a pass for me. Waiting on Hasbro to make one. Cool. Jedi Ben also has stated that Alpine and Storm Shadow are clearance now too. I haven't seen them anywhere, and they're already clearance. This makes me so angry, Pat.
I did see Storm Shadow actually locally. There were 2 Storm Shadows on the shelf at Walmart. Nothing else from that wave that I saw.
Unreal. Drives me mad. They're at Walmart on clearance as well. Thank you, Jedi Ben. We know Raptor is, Derek. Yeah, we talked about that last week and how annoying that was for Pat and I. But yes, so if you want to get involved, Falcon and Quarrel are available. And it sounds like loads of others are as well. So in terms of, Alpine, Storm Shadow, Quarrel, and Night Force Falcon, you can have yourself a very nice little haul there with a couple of figs. And if you haven't got Raptor, throw him in as well. Right then, Jedi Ben said he bought them this morning on the app as well. So if you've got the app, that's probably even smoother. Go get that. Right, that's that sorted.
Oh wow, yeah, Tunnel Rat's $10 right now on the app on Walmart.
What the Night Force one or the regular one?
I think I actually have trouble telling them apart.
It's so difficult, actually.
It's the Night Force one. Yeah, the Night Force one's $10.
That's interesting because. Yeah, that might be one that people haven't. Yeah, cool. Get it. Jinx is $750 apparently. That's interesting. Or is that $750, Jedi Ben? Because that would be insane. Yeah, $750, not $750, which is one hell of a typo there. Now, also this week, Hobby Base started getting leatherneck, dial tone, and saw viper in, and they're based in Hong Kong. But what usually happens is we see it at Hobby Base, and then it slowly makes its way, or they slowly make their way to the US in normal distribution. So it's not like a crazy long time afterwards. It's maybe like a month or so, if that. So I don't think we'll be waiting very long for these. And of course, the Saw Viper has been going up on lots of video reviews, including D Amazing, who posted this wonderful video. Link is not in the description. If you go to our Facebook page, we post it on most of our socials, actually, this particular video review, so you can go check that out. And he made some lovely photography and lovely shots of the Saw Viper here, probably mowing down a group of Joes here, Pat, would you say?
Yeah, probably, or hopefully just, you know, holding them back, just kind of making them not move forward.
No, I'm pretty sure he's murdering a lot of people in this shot.
I saw also Bees Battleground had him in hand.
Yes,
I was looking at them spinning around. I wasn't sure if you saw that.
I did. Yes. So there's been a lot of people that posted the their kind of in hand Saw Vipers. So very jealous. Oh, V Hawkmore says Night Force Ram was up for $30. Grabbed it and Night Force Tunnel Rat at 4 a.m. today. That's hardcore. That is. If you're up
Night
that
Creepers
early.
are like, what are Night Creepers right now? $13, $12.78.
Yeah, don't tell
Crazy.
me that. I got what I wanted in the Night Creeper department. I just wanted enough to show off all of
another
the
10.
No, I didn't know the 20 of them. I mean, they are great, and spoiler alert, they might get talked about on our specials. But like, I think I just wanted to show off all of the different accessories and the hands and make sure that they had different things going on. So I only got 3. Past says it's not aimed down, so he's not murdering anyone yet. Thank you, Past. Thank you very much. So that makes Pat feel better, at least. Warning shots right here, yeah? It still looks amazing. This is a shot of him with his little kind of detached saw creeping up on someone, I imagine. Very nice indeed. Here's another shot of the saw weapon with the saw attached to it, literally. Again, looking very cool. Bit of a dark shot there with the skull in the background, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I don't know what he's protecting. I guess that's his skull.
That's my skull. I earned that. Which Joe do you think that belongs to?
Oh, I don't even want to think about that.
Does it make you sad when you think about that issue, Pat?
Yeah.
Which is a question for you. Did you think it was too much, and would you have preferred them not to have all died?
Well, there are a lot of characters, and I'm sure that was. I think that Larry Hama has said that he needed to just kind of thin out how much was going on with how many characters.
Yeah.
And also the responsibility of showing some brutality eventually happening in the comic.
Right.
But not really. I mean, he's continued it on, but I did not see that coming at the time that the original run was happening. And, that was later on in the issues. And at that time, I had the feeling that G.I. Joe, the 3 3/4 inch line wasn't going to last forever. So yeah, I think that telling that is just part of that original story is just part of the story.
Yeah. I wasn't sure. I've never talked about it that I can think of, that I can remember, as to how that, if it was one of those things when you read it the first time, how it affected you, and if it was one of those things where it was like,
I was shocked. I was definitely shocked. Like, I thought that just the fact that it wasn't like one death, it was multiples. I could not believe what was going on.
Ed says it's not Doc. The skull is still intact. Jeez. My goodness. Good point, Ed. I'm going to move on to this shot. There's another nice shot. There's plenty of nice shots from D Amazing here, and I just wanted to show them all off. I'd never noticed before just how prominent Saw Viper's cod piece is, Pat, but that is a pretty prominent cod piece, isn't it?
Yeah, I was not paying attention to his cod piece.
I was properly, protecting that area, the genital area. But very cool, like it. And then this is a good one as well, kind of again with the blast effect, kind of giving it that kind of burst. I quite like it as well from a photography point of view, where that's a little out of focus. So
Yeah, the fact
you
that it's
don't
a little
see.
out of focus actually helps it look like it's a blurry, fire coming out of the end of the rifle.
Absolutely. Very cool. And there's more. There's this one holding the saw. There's quite a few actually. Where are we? Yeah, I just want to make sure I don't go too far. I always go too far. I just went too far already. This one here with the little again, probably creeping up on somebody, and I think we see who that is soon. Got the pistol. It's a very cool figure. What do you think of the Saw Viper, by the way? We have talked about this, haven't we?
We haven't actually. I didn't make it on the week that was revealed. We've not
the
talked
7
about
weeks
Saw
that we
Viper.
were missing basically this year.
I actually really like the way that it looks. I think that this is treading into that tripwire territory.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that it's an update, you can also shed some of that additional armor in order to make him look a little more classic. And I think that that's a really good approach to take with these figures. Curious to see what he looks like with some of the armor on the arms off.
Yeah.
Because it does look like the forearm stuff comes off as well as the shoulders, which would make them also look a little bit more like the vintage figure.
Absolutely. I think you're right there. They do look like secondaries. When you said treading into tripwire territory, in my head, I heard tripping into treadmark territory. And I was like, why would they be tripping into treadmark territory? But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You're totally right on that one. And I think one of the things I really like about it is they continued some of the aspects on the original into this, like the mic, the balaclava head. I'm going to say the original. I sort of really mean earlier versions as well, and then added things that were kind of a bit, obscure or different or new, like the saw attachment on the machine gun, which I think is a little very Gears of War-ish kind of vibes. Do you know what I mean? For me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I saw people complaining about that whenever it first popped up, but if you look at the original Saw Viper, I don't believe that it's either that the weapon that came with him was not the original one planned, or that he was originally going to have more than one. Because what he is carrying there on the package art, that's not the weapon that was included.
Right, they gave him they gave him one that was almost the same. Well, there's probably the same height as him.
Right. Yeah. But you can see on the one that's the earlier weapon, it actually has like this tiny little. It honestly looks like a reciprocating saw to me. On there, it's like some sort of just squiggly little thing that is almost drill-like, but it's not. It's more of like some kind of blade. So he had that at one point, and this kind of feels to me like allowing that to return to the character rather than a completely new thing. They may have thought that it was completely new. I'm not sure, but I like the fact that it's back in there in some fashion, even though that's not what Saw really refers to. And I know that they got those initials a little weird as well. But I think that as far as just a figure goes, it belongs there and it's good.
Yeah, I really like this Saw Viper. I think it looks phenomenal. I'm happy to grab one of these when they pop up as well. But for now, just looking from a distance, or I am anyway. I have never noticed that. It's like a jigsaw-looking drill bit, says Ed. Yeah, I don't think I've ever noticed that until Pat mentioned it as well. So that's all. Yeah, good to kind of finally have a little bit of, I suppose, like precedent for that particular edition. But also, I kind of like the thought of, and I think people had a problem with it because it was like it's not that kind of saw, but yeah, he's also carrying a pretty hefty machine gun. So like it's cool. I don't see an issue with it. Plus, you can take it off if you don't want it. You don't have to have it. And the other thing is, this character has always been very like brutal. The character in the comic was always a bit of like a harsh, aggressive, sort of like a dark character, really. And adding a chainsaw effectively to the weapon for like some sort of close, horrible sort of like gouging weapon is something that is right up the street of this particular character. And I say character because in the comic they effectively made the Saw Viper, a Saw Viper, they made a very clear character.
Right.
And yeah, but like in terms of their like regiment, let's say, it's on trend in my opinion. So I don't think there's like a thing where I don't look at this and go, that's out of place. I don't look at it and think that shouldn't be there. I kind of look at it and go, yeah, that's bang on trend. And it's just cute that it also is a saw of some description.
Yeah. And I saw like a handheld chainsaw, like one of those. I think it may have been like a Temu offer or something, but I saw like a tiny handheld chainsaw, and I thought, well, a tiny chainsaw can exist, because somebody has built a real world one, for sale.
Exactly. And did you buy it for cosplay? Your next cosplay?
No, I didn't. No.
God, could you imagine that? I mean, like you taking that into for the finest, start bringing in actual chainsaws. That would be a bit dark, wouldn't it? Ed says, damn, now I have to keep the chainsaw on the gun. Yes, you do, Ed. Joe Barrett says, waiting for the Night Viper now. Oh, God, yeah, a Night Viper would be phenomenal.
Oh, Night Viper would be nice.
Are there any... Would you like to... Because yeah, okay. I won't go into that again because that opened a can of worms last time. But are you... what are you hoping for a Night Viper in the future, Pat? If we obviously will probably get one at some point. What do you hope they kind of do with that? Do you hope they kind of do a little bit of Saw Viperish stuff here where they kind of update some stuff? Or do you think it kind of works already for what it is?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the most fun parts of like that original Night Viper is an awesome figure. I love the fact that he has like the changeable scope. But I would expect there to be some sort of update with that to to make there be different options with that. Like that's going to be quite a lot of research that Lenny's probably going to have to do into how does he balance, real world night vision stuff that wouldn't really probably have to be that bulky anymore, with the temptation of making it just look awesome and lean into how the original one looked. But it almost feels like he has the night vision, and then he has like a night vision telescope as well,
right
that he could use. So he's going to have to do something to make up some sort of fun aspect to that character. And then also, I mean, at this point, how many rifles attached to things? But the fact that original figure had a rifle that could attach to his leg was just awesome.
Yeah.
I would like. It looks like there's a knife in the backpack that should come out too. I would like to see that. Yeah,
it's the handle, isn't it, that kind of sticks out?
The handle sticking up. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with all of those points, and I'd like to. Yeah, I think what might happen, which I think is probably quite possible, is they'll have a visor with like a fairly with the Pinocchio visor, or what's the character in Transformers that takes out Prime in the movie? Like
Megatron?
No, with the gun on his face, transforms into a gun on his face.
Lockdown.
Yeah, like I don't think they're going to go full lockdown on that. They'll probably. But I could see them doing like one option that is like that vintage style, and one option that's like what we have here, like just like a night vision, like flip down sort of helmet job.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that happen. Airborne Custom says, I'm okay with the Cobra characters being more fantastical and out of spec military. I can even ignore the semi-automatic weapon Viper name, even though it's wrong too. Yeah, that's been wrong since day one, hasn't it, Darren? The first one was called semi-automatic weapon, when I think it's squad, isn't it? Squad automatic weapon. That big night vision scope in Classified could probably let him snipe the moon. That's actually true. It is like a friggin' telescope, isn't it? So I can see Jupiter from here, guys. That's so funny. I'd like a skinny version, says SF and G. For what? For Night Viper. Night Viper will probably
I'm
come.
assuming he means Saw
Saw
Viper,
Viper.
since
Yeah,
that
that
original
okay.
Saw Viper figure is just so skinny.
Yeah. Night Viper will probably come with a mini flying spy drone. That'd be kind of fun, Joe. That would be kind of fun. Jamie Lynn Parks has just put in comments, helmet job. Yeah, that's my... did I say that? That's my bad. And I didn't say Kitty said afterwards. That's terrible of me. Airborne's Custom says it has, and you're correct. So for squad automatic weapon, yeah, they screwed that, or they changed it from day one, didn't they? Night Viper Skinny Creeper, says SNF and G. A Night Viper Skinny Creeper. That sounds hilarious. In any case, yeah, I'm well up for that. Are there any other Vipers, Pat, that are kind of on, like, you'd love to see them do sooner rather than later?
That era is just full of really good ones. I mean, imagine like a Heat Viper. What would that look like?
Beautiful, especially with the little kind of shells around the ankles and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cool helmet and all the pipes, and yeah, that would be freaking amazing. Yeah, Heat Viper's a big one for me too. I think that would be great. And the other one for me, actually, at this point, I'd love to see a Rock Viper, because I feel like we've got Alpine now. He needs someone directly to fight on cliff faces against.
Are they required to grow mustaches? Is that a requirement of being a Rock Viper? You must be able to grow a nice little mustache.
It better have a mustache, is all I'm saying. Better have a mustache. Yeah, cool. I have a picture actually of my Rock Viper card back, which is in the background of the shot, and I'm walking like very purposefully in this picture in my, I think, my Auntie Di's living room at Christmas, and I'm like, I don't know what I look annoyed at something, but I wouldn't have been. It was Christmas, and as the picture's taken, in the background you can see the Rock Viper card back that had been kept intact as I'd taken the figure off it. Because I usually cut the file cards out and then threw the rest away, which still bugs me to this day. Why did I do that? And Captain Gridiron, I think, was the other figure behind it. I think we worked out, because it's hard to see, and we can only go by like the very thin edge of what's available to see around the edge. And I think Captain Gridiron was the only one that made sense. Anyway, what do you guys want to see in the Viper scenario? Hydro Viper, Jeff, of course, good shout. Hydro Viper, I think, is that's my top one of the classified series. That and Lightfoot. I don't think I'll get Lightfoot, but I think Hydro Viper is a high possibility. High possibility. Heat Viper, says Joe. Female versions for all of them, says Max. That's a good shout as well, actually. Pa says need headhunters. They'd be cool.
What about maybe Meta Viper?
Oh, that's a good shout. And kind of like Scalpel and his Medi Vipers sort of thing would be kind of cool, wouldn't it? Yeah, totally. Totally. Lone Dragon says, I have a picture of my Rock Viper as well. Cool. Bry says, I'm still waiting for Kitchen Viper figures. That'd be amazing. Jedi says Night Viper. Ed says Flak Viper. Toxo Viper for Paul. Plastic Battles. Hey, bud. Laser Viper for Sith Viper. That's getting confused, everyone, isn't it? Sith Viper 77 says Laser Viper. Alexandros says Retro Range Viper. Pa says Neo Viper. And Darren has just gone all crazy. Hydro, Night, Heat, Laser, Flak. Jungle Viper, says Joe. And Rock as well for Darren there. Rap Viper. There's a good shout, Max.
Yeah,
very good. And Cyber, says Airborne's Customs. Yeah, good shouts. Right then. Oh, Michael says the pioneers, combat engineers of the French Foreign Legion actually are required to have beards, according to Wikipedia. Interesting.
Huh.
Interesting. There you go. So Rock Vipers, it might be part of the sign up. You've got to have a tash to be a Rock Viper. Yeah, cool. That's pretty much all of it, I think. Yeah, we've done 2024 now, so that's all sorted. Slipping into 2025, and as you can see, we have, of course, got Saw Viper, Leatherneck, and Dial Tone there, waiting for those to get in hand now. Very excited to see those, and because I've seen them. Obviously, I've seen those figures and I've held them and I've played with them and everything at that Hasbro press breakfast, and they are all so bloody good in hand. So yeah, I'm very excited to get those eventually. But also looking forward to Frag Viper, Blowtorch, Darklon, Footloose, Snake Eyes version 4. Any of these grabbing you, Pat?
Not actually as much as Saw Viper. I really am curious to get that one in hand. I did order a Saw Viper.
Nice. Crystal Ball is another one. I know we've seen a lot of it, but
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that in full and official. I mean, the promo images are going to be insane, and also what he comes with. I would love to see if he comes with a blimmin' lenticular shield. That would be amazing. Anyway, no changes on the listings this week. Again, I don't know if there's going to be any sort of drop before Christmas. Probably not at this point. I don't think they'd do anything at this stage, even if it was a pre-order or a reveal or anything. I think we'll be waiting now until probably up until February. So there's going to be a little bit of a gap, I would think, before we start seeing more classified stuff. But then again, it does give us an opportunity to just catch up a little bit and to I kind of like these little phases where there's a little bit of a slowdown. Really do, because it does when you get into like the middle of the year. And it's like, Yojo June, SDCC, and then you roll into PulseCon and all the other stuff. It just gets like, wow, there's a lot of stuff coming. And then you get this like little lull, this little kind of drop around December, January time, and I actually quite enjoy it, honestly, because it kind of builds a bit more interest and excitement for what's to come in the future. I know you enjoy those little breaks, Pat.
A little bit, yeah, for sure.
Trouser Vipers, says Lone Dragon. That's interesting. I don't think they did one of those yet. Paul says the lenticular shield should be able to spin to get that trippy effect. Absolutely. I really do hope.
I'm really curious to see what they do, because I could imagine them doing something like that.
Yeah. I mean, we've got lenticular shields in, Marvel Legends now, so yeah, I think it needs to happen. We just had lenticular technology on Cobra Commander's box art for the exclusive. So yeah, it's true. They have the technology. G.I. Joe Day should be the next reveal, says Airborne's Customs. Yep. I'm loving the Skeleton Crew figures and show, says Chris G. I've only watched the first 2 episodes, but I really liked it, so I'll probably keep watching that. Figure Six Pack says, I'm late. No more time for verbal quips. Yeah, you're all done now. We're going to run to the shout out soon. Just a quick recap of what we are aware of coming officially. There are the name only reveals with Snake Eyes version 4, Retro Flint, Retro Covergirl, Retro Televiper, Crystal Ball, and Darklon. And of course, renders wise, these are the remaining renders we have that we don't have anything officially revealed yet, and that's Law and Order, Footloose, Blowtorch, Snake Eyes with Polar Bear, the Legacy Firefighter, Cobra Claw with Pilot, and the Frag Viper. So that is it for now. Let's move on to some shout outs while we're moving around. We're moving at a very rapid pace today. I'm very surprised, but here we are. And you can start us off, Pat, with the shout-outs. Who have you got first, mate?
Philip?
Yes.
First time ever shouting out Philip, right?
Yeah, we've never shouted him out before or articulated points. Amazing. Yeah, shout out to Phil. And of course, check out Articulated Points. Anything coming up soon, buddy, that we can expect to see?
Boy, I hope so.
Oh, Phil, it's Phil's turn now, isn't it?
It is. Well, I don't want to say it's his turn. I'm just really bad at Novembers and Decembers.
Yeah.
So I'm looking.
It's his responsibility
to take care of things this month.
Anyway, yeah, shout out to Phil. Again, and also check out Articulated Points, link in the description. Latest video at the moment is part 4 of the Eco Warriors deep dive, and it's a beauty, guys. So get stuck in, get in there, and get all articulated. Shout out to Phil. And I don't think he's in the chat today, but I'm sure you'll be watching at some point, Phil. Also, massive shout out to Brian for, again, our lovely winter graphics. We also have holiday special graphics and New Year's Day special graphics coming as well. So it's going to be an absolute graphics nightmare over the next couple of weeks for poor Brian. Thank you, Brian, though. We really appreciate all the cool graphics and everything, mate. They look amazing. Even if people think this is some sort of desert thing, it's actually Avalanche. And of course, assembly required, which at the moment we know is on the 14th and 15th of November next year. It has been announced the dates, and more information will be coming in regards to hotels, vendor information, all that good stuff. Yeah, not too far behind as well. Cool. On top of that, we had yesterday Skeletron put up the RoboSkull Mark IIs and Battle Action Force Treasury Editions for order on their site. So you can get stuck in there now on skeletron.com. Links in the description for both. We have obviously a link for the Mark II, and we have a link for the Treasury Editions. Mine should be here. They might be here now, because I did have a notification that someone was at our front door. So I wonder if we've had a little delivery of Battle Action Force books. Should be before midday anyway.
I checked mine, and mine, I just got a shipping notice. Mine is still in New Jersey, so
damn it.
We'll see.
I've got yours. I'm closer to that than you are.
You are closer to Jersey than I am, yeah.
Do you want me to just drive over, get them, and bring them over? Do you want me to do that?
That'd be fine. Sure, why not?
And by pick them up, I mean find out where they are on a truck, take it out Fast and Furious style on the road somehow, and then drive the truck to your house. That's the only way I could really do it that I could think of.
That'll work, though. I'll get them sooner rather than later.
True. Yeah, like to save what, a day or like a few hours. Or I'd probably get caught by the police before I got to your house. So anyway, thank you very much, Zartan, for the super chat. I want to say you're welcome for having me on the Full Force. I'll be here for another 200 episodes. Thank you, Zartan. Yeah, obviously we did celebrate our 200th episode last week of the weekly, specifically the weekly. If you count everything else, it's probably our 98,000th episode of anything. But that's still a pretty fun milestone to reach. So thank you, Zartan, and thank you for the super chat. Very much appreciate it. Anyway, yeah, so check out skeletron.com or check out the individual links we have down in the description for both of those items. Yeah, and if you didn't get in on a Mark II RoboSkull, now's your opportunity. It's still available. And same for the Battle Action Force Treasury Editions. You can actually get them through Previews World as well, Battle Action Force, but I'm not sure how long they'll be available for. So now's your chance, and they should be in stock. Cool. And also, want to shout out Paul at Plastic Battles for this beautiful shot. I always enjoy Paul's work, and you can check him out on all of his Plastic Battles on all of the socials. What do you think of this one, Pat? Bit of desert for the desert graphics today?
Hey, it can be wintertime in the desert, right?
It looks just like Dusty's literal camo pattern. That's the funny thing about it. It literally looks like Dusty's camo pattern. I'm gonna have to get Brian to really crank up the bright white on this particular graphics, and then we'll have different graphics after everything else. But yeah, it's beautiful, and there's a lot of cool things in here. Like Paul does a lot of kind of like paint work on his figures. Like he does a lot of like washes on the figures.
Oh,
so
okay.
You can kind of see that on Snake Eyes and Dusty.
Yeah.
I think the other figure is a custom from somewhere else, if I'm right in saying that, Paul. And if you're in the comments, mate, I can see you are. Just let us know who that is, and I'll say it out loud. And also, I think the Doom Buggy is from BBTS, right? I want to say. But that's really cool as well. I like that too. But yeah, it's really nice, and just I love the work he does. It's really a simple shot as well, but at the same time, lots has gone into this, like the rock kind of formation in the background, little tuft of grass there. You've got the kind of, even the way the sand is kind of shaped. Like there's loads going on here. That little rock.
Yeah, that is true. That's very true. It's a lot of stuff to take for granted, I guess.
big time. Even the background, like the sky background, there's loads in there. It's LMK Custom Works that did the Trooper, kind of like the Desert Trooper. Very cool, and I like this very, very much, mate. Awesome stuff. Okay, and that brings us to the end. Thank you very much, Pat, for joining me on this 201st episode of the weekly.
Oh, it's always fun.
It is always fun. Thank you to everyone in the comments as well for all of the support and everything all year long, and of course to all of our patrons. However you consume this, whether you're someone that just watches it from a distance, not from a distance, like as in like from far away from your TV or whatever, but like if you just watch it and you don't interact, we still appreciate you very much. And same for you guys that interact. We appreciate all the little chats and comments and everything. And yeah, all the support is very much welcome, all the way through to our patrons as well. And I'll be going live tomorrow for our Patreon as well, so you can look out for that at some point on Sunday. That is it then. We've got loads to come. As I've mentioned before, we've got the holiday special, which will be dropping on Christmas Eve. We've got, which is massive, by the way. It's close to 2 hours, I think. We've also got a New Year's Day special as well, which will probably be in a similar situation. I might have to do them in different parts, actually, just because of how cumbersome they are. But that's going to be fun as well. So that'll be dropping on New Year's Day. And on the holiday special, we're looking back at 2024. And for the New Year's Day, we're looking forward to 2025. So top threes in both directions. And we've got, I think Adam's joining us. We've got Pat, obviously, is going to be there, and Paddy, as well as myself. So it should be a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, actually, Pat. We've already recorded one of them.
It was a lot of fun. I think people will enjoy that discussion. It's always, those are always fun. We seem to have hit a sweet spot doing those annually.
Totally. Well, I can't do them any more often than that because it's just so much work.
I know.
We'll have to do them live going forward. Hey guys, you're not doing anything Christmas Eve, right? We're going to do it live. Could you imagine? Anyway, thank you very much, guys, for everything. All in the comments, and of course to you, Pat. And of course, we've got the Lenny and Tony interview. We've kind of been back and forth with availability, and we've just decided to do it in the new year. So we'll probably be doing that, hopefully before anything's revealed in the new year. But who knows? It might make more sense for us to keep holding fire on it until the new stuff gets dropped in February. But we'll work it out. I'll see if they want to do a couple, and we can like lock in the dates either side. But either way, it will be happening. Lenny and Tony will be doing an interview with them very soon. Yeah, cool. And also another thing I'm working on. Look out in the new year for Justin, myself, and Sixo doing our own fantasy casting for the upcoming Transformers G.I. Joe crossover movie. That'll be coming in the new year. So we'll be thinking about like some of the characters we could see and who would make good actors to play them. That should be fun too. And yeah, also I'm going to shout out Sixo right now because I've been absolutely loving the Triple Takeover podcast. If you guys don't check that out and you're Transformers fans, you need to be listening to that because it's a lot of fun. Pat, you listen to that, don't you?
I've been listening. I think I started on episode 1. Like I think I started whenever they started episode 1. I've been listening to it that long. I know I have maybe one episode that I have not listened to yet. That's a Transformers 1 interview, but I've heard all the rest.
I've listened to that one. I've listened to
there's a couple of them. There's a couple of Transformers 1 movies.
Like I've gone back as far as the Mini Vehicles 86, I want to say. So I started on Mini Vehicles 8. I've not started, but I've just listened to the most recent episode and then gone backwards like that. And I've got to Mini Vehicles 86, so I'm kind of going backwards as I'm going, but like they're great. And if you're a Transformers fan, then yeah, you'll love that. It's a lot of fun as well. A lot of cool, fun, hilarious banter as well. It's really awesome.
It caused me to buy a terrible Dinobot combiner the other day. His review of it, like I'd looked at it before and thought, nah. But then he's showing it. It's like, oh yeah, it really is terrible. I probably should have this.
That's amazing.
It doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't
more the price than it was anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing as well, if you don't follow Sixo on all his platforms, you should do, because his toy photography is phenomenal. And he is also an avid lover and enjoyer of the Transformers G.I. Joe collaborative series. They talk about that quite a lot, and they all seem to be really into it. And it's funny because most of the Transformers fans that I know are like, obviously you, Pat, and then a lot of people from like TF Nation, of course. And a lot of the people I know, you aside, don't tend to really care or know a lot about G.I. Joe, or even have any interest in it whatsoever. Some to the point of aggressively hating it, especially when it crosses over with their brand that they love so much. And because of that, I have this kind of like skewed idea of what the Transformers fandom really thinks of the collaborative line, because again, like, knowing only a few people that really like it, you included, it's just always like interesting to me that actually quite a lot of people are into that collab line, and it's probably why it keeps, doing really well, and they keep churning more of them out. So it was interesting to hear their take on it and how much they really enjoy those. So I was like, sweet. Looks like we're going to get more of those kind of in the future, I'd imagine.
I hope so. Yeah, for sure. I hope that. I mean, I don't want a new one every month, but
right.
I'm happy to have one or two a year, and that's awesome.
Yeah, or one a year, as it's sort of turning out to be.
Give me that HasLab that is a Generation 1, cab over engine Optimus Prime, but holds vintage G.I. Joe. That's what I want.
That would be cool as heck. That would be so good. I'd love to see them delve into the HasLab with the collab, because I think that would be kind of cool, especially when you could think about what you could actually do there. Like, you could do a Prime Rolling Thunder, you could do some sort of like base Metroplex sort of situation. I think it would be absolutely freaking amazing, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of stuff that they could do with the collab, but I just keep dreaming of that huge. It would be a huge Optimus Prime, and of course I'd want a trailer.
Of course.
Yeah.
And you could, because it would effectively just be a big Optimus Prime that could hold G.I. Joe O-ring figures, wouldn't it? But like, in terms of the collab, they'd probably have to turn it into something. That's the kind of
that's why I would want that to just be a HasLab, and to be almost a separate thing, that everybody would probably buy that Optimus rather than whatever the collab Optimus is. But
Leon says HasLab collab meth lab. Amazing. That's amazing. Joe says, thank you both for all you do. I'm a happy cheese bag. Thank you, Joe. And yes, hit that like button. Thank you, Airborne's Customs, for letting people reminding people of that. Full 2014. So yes, let's bring it to a close, because that's what I was supposed to be doing like an hour ago. Lots to come then is basically what I was getting at. We'll be back obviously next week. Stay fresh, cheese bags. And as always, after 3, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3.
Full force.
Laters. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing, and commenting on these videos. And as always, you can keep up with the show after listening by following on all of our social platforms, links in the description. And if you would like to contact the show, you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback or questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.